snacks.
To all of you who are watching, a good friend Andrew Smart, aka Pandy O.
Hey, how's it going? How's it going?
In the building.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, actually, can you guys hear me? Is that okay?
Yeah,
we coming through loud and clear.
Awesome. Okay.
How you feeling?
Doing pretty good. This is the first time I'm flying solo with this like technology stuff. Like the missus is the techie, I'm the artist, so I'm feeling proud of myself. So
yeah. You know what? Then we're proud of you too. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're proud of you, we're proud of you.
Appreciate it.
Listen, why don't we just take a minute and do a little bit more of a proper introduction for you? Since you're coming into the show, again, this is Andrew Smart and creator of Moon Lair Studios. Let's talk a little bit about Moon Lair Studios and what it is.
Absolutely, yeah. So Moon Lair Studios is a manga studio. It's a manga studio that is quickly growing into kind of a multimedia kind of company. Where we're getting into, I always tell people we had a plan, do the stories first, like the mangas first. That way people have an investment to kind of what the stories are about, and then branch off to everything else. So like, if we wanted to do like a game or a card game, we would do the manga first, and then we would kind of, do everything else. So, yeah, that's pretty much Moon Lair Studios. It's believe it or not, it's a very small, studio. We just been doing some like awesome things. Like, so.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've known you for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years. It feels like something like that.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's definitely been a while. Yeah.
You've always been busy, and there's always been a studio, right?
Yeah,
like there's been a studio for you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Moon Lair, in terms of that kind of stuff, is a newer endeavor, but also isn't new, right? Moon Lair's been around for a little bit now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as a manga studio, like what made you decide that it was necessary to start, I guess, a full-on studio as opposed to just continuing like doing a manga, but just doing it under quote unquote who you already were?
Yeah. No, so it started off as just, so I'm an art teacher, and it started off with just me wanting to, kind of, show my students, number one, I know what I'm talking about when I'm teaching them how to draw manga,
right.
And the only reason why I say that is because, like, when I was growing up, manga and anime was very new. And so, like, with teachers be like, oh, I can show you how to draw manga. And they would draw like these, like, almost like Mickey Mouse, characters, like the really big eyes. And you're like, man, that don't look like Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
Like, I had very sophisticated taste back in those days. So everything was Dragon Ball Z for me. But yeah, it started off with just me wanting to kind of show my students like, hey, this is something that, that you can do. And then it turned into just kind of remembering like the fun past that I had of doing it when I was younger. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, this is like you forgot about your dream. Like, you forgot about like if you could do anything, like doing, like having your own manga or an anime studio was like the dream. And I was like, yo, this is what I want to do, Okay. So it started off with just, kind of wanting to do something, as sort of a learning thing. And then it morphed, it kind of, awakened my, just deep love and passion for this medium. Like, it's so good.
I dig that, man. We're gonna, we've been kind of messaging back and forth for, I don't know, a couple of weeks now. And you sent some stuff, so I do want to pop a couple things up on screen just to give people an idea of some of your work.
Yeah.
Some of what you have going on. So talk to us briefly about Dasher Blue.
Yeah. Absolutely. So Dasher Blue is definitely turning out to be one of my favorites. So if you're into like, you know, tokusatsu or, you know, Power Rangers, any sort of transformation heroes, and I'll kind of go, you know, above beyond that, like into kind of American cartoons as well. This is definitely kind of like, you know, a love letter to, and hopefully Dasher Blue can be, you know, kind of a part of that, you know, very exclusive club of classic, you know, heroes and stuff. Yeah, Dasher Blue is just it's something I'm super excited about. It follows Trace Kincaid. He's Dasher Blue. He's this you know, galactic hero, you know, fighting evil across, you know, the galaxy. In the first issue, it kind of just introduces everything, but it starts off it starts off very fast. Yeah, if you guys haven't, you know, picked it up, yeah, is definitely something you guys want to check out. Well, I'm actually working on the second one right now, so yeah, I'm super excited for Dasher Blue.
Awesome.
How do you know when you're done with? Because like, you know, look, you know, look, we've talked about some of this stuff a little bit before, right? Like when we've done interviews or whatever and spoken to each other at conventions, but like, you know, they say that like a masterpiece is never complete, right? That like artists never really finish. You just kind of stop, like you maybe decide that's enough, or you decide to work on the next thing, or you know, you move forward, and you spin a lot of plates, bro. Like
Yeah.
you
I
keep
know.
a lot of plates spinning. So like, just with Dasher Blue, for example, right? Like, how do you know because you are artist, writer, correct? Like you're doing all of that, right? So how do you know when you're at a place where you feel like this is a good place to stop this issue? Right? Is it like, I feel like I'm at the right cliffhanger? Are you doing that to people? Are you leaving those, you know, next time on Dragon Ball Z kind of cliffhangers for people? Like, how do you figure that out?
Yeah, no, and it's so funny you said that, because those things are such a part of my childhood. You know, like I miss the days of live TV, but I also hate the days of live TV, because just for that, where you were like, oh, come on, man, like you gotta be
Commercials
kidding
and
me. Exactly. So yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, so definitely a little bit of that. You know, planning goes into that, of like how much do you want to give of the story and stuff, and then just, you know, also just the timing of it too, where like, you know, I give myself like a deadline that I have to produce, you know, in a certain amount of time, and if I hit that deadline, I don't have enough wiggle room, then I have to kind of cut it off. But 9 times out of 10, I'm like, no, I can't cut it off right there. That's kind of weird and stuff like that. So I kind of push maybe like 2 to 3 pages out, just a little bit, and then I'm like, all right, this is good and stuff. So it's a lot of chaos, but it's definitely kind of controlled chaos, where it's like, yeah, there's been plenty of times where I'm like, no, I can't leave it like that. Like, let me do like 4 more pages and stuff. And
control chaos is a special thing. It's like,
it really is.
It's, you know, look, it's one of those things where it's like, it might be a mess to anybody else walking into the room, but like, you know where everything is. You know what I mean? Like, is it again, staying with Dasher Blue for a moment? Is there an end to the story?
Oh yeah.
Or do you just write to the end of an arc? Like, do you know, like how long, not how long the story is, but like the beginning, middle, and end of the story, and it's just a matter of breaking it into however many books / chapters you want that to be?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there's a very rough, and I say this to anybody, like, you know, like you should have an idea of how you want something to end, like very loose, very rough, just because like nothing's really done until it's set in stone, like until it's printed, you know. So yeah, I definitely have a rough idea of you know, where I'm going to end it, and actually that actually goes into like how certain things are produced. If they're produced like episodically, like meaning it doesn't follow like kind of a linear like storyline.
Right. Right.
So you can keep those things going forever and stuff,
Right.
until you're like, you know what, yeah, it's time for him to kind of ride off into the distance and stuff like that. And for me, like I like those, because I'm writing a lot of the stories. I'm writing a lot of the a lot of the stories that we have. I want to make sure that they all feel different, and that's very challenging, very challenging.
Sure.
So I have to now choose what type of writing style or storytelling style. Is it going to be more sort of like a long continuous story, or can I do like, this time they're on the moon, this time they're in the volcano, this time, so yeah.
You have I mean, as an artist, you can do almost anything. Like I've looked at your work for so long over the years. So from like a style perspective, like I think when we first met, the majority of the work, at least that I saw on display, was black and white, right? Which again is very manga, right? Like to be black and white and what have you. But you do brilliant color work. You do brilliant what I would call like American style comic work, and like really brilliant like life like portrait kind of stuff, right? So is there, calling Moon Lair a manga studio, are you lying to yourself? Like eventually are you gonna get like, is there gonna be other stuff that kind of feeds in, or is it like, this is what I really love and this is what I want to do?
Yeah, no, and so that is kind of one reason why I kind of broke it up a little bit. So like PandyO, that's the pen name, and that's something that I kind of wanted to have a little bit of separation, just because I know for me, I like a little bit of separation. I gave an example, and I don't know if this is a good example, but it makes sense in my mind. Have you guys ever heard of like Slipknot before?
The band,
yeah. So I told someone, I was like, so you like Slipknot? What if you found out they're like spokespersons for like Pampers or something like that? Like every time you see them, you be like, man, they really selling Pampers out here. I mean, they don't bring it up in their music, but they you be like, huh, like So I like having that sort of separation. Andrew Smart can do like other artwork, and I still take commission work. I still do all the rest of other things, because honestly that sort of helps my skills transfers over to manga, because you still need to have a really good understanding of like anatomy, portrait skills, all design, color. You really need to have that. So I use the kind of the Andrew Smart side to kind of train my keep up my skills, and then I come back over here, and it's and I think you said it last time, which I use all the time, and I got to give you credit, where you give yourself sort of a mental break by doing something, like cleansing the palate a little bit. So if I decide to do like a comic, I probably won't put it out under Moon Lair. And even with Dasher Blue, I kind of felt like it was a really nice sort of like, not necessarily hybrid, because like if you saw some of the earlier like anime work, a lot of the work that was coming out in the 80s and 70s, 80s and 90s were kind of inspired by sort of like Western comics. So they had that very sort of like Western style to them and stuff like that. It's only until they started kind of coming into their own style and stuff like that. So I would still consider Dasher Blue to definitely be in sort of that manga anime genre, but it's a lot more sort of I wouldn't be insulted if anybody was like, no, this is a comic book. Be like, yes.
So, is there a learning curve associated with doing manga because the page flow is backwards compared to Western comics and books? Like, is there a learning curve that you have to kind of go through in terms of how you put that together?
Yeah. No, just to remind you, just reminding yourself that you're reading this way versus like
Yeah,
this way. So yeah,
yeah.
and it's literally just sort of reversing everything and stuff like that. Mainly just the pacing is different. Manga's pacing is a little bit different.
Mhm.
From American, not too different, but it's definitely like it definitely has a feel to it and stuff. And so yeah, that's probably the only learning curve. And obviously the facial expressions, the caricatures, or the characters. um uh yeah, that's probably the biggest learning
I
curve.
dig it. Look, we can talk about Moon Lair until we're blue in the face because I would enjoy doing that. But let's keep it a buck. Like we're here
Mhm.
for a reason. Like you have a Kickstarter that's launching,
Yes, absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So we definitely want to talk about that.
Yes,
Um,
there you go.
Issue
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, issue two.
Mm-hmm.
Jokes, if you would do me a favor and just
Already.
grab that link and get the link in the chat
Yeah,
for everybody so everybody
appreciate
can
it.
go and check out the Kickstarter and also drop the link for the website, please, so everybody can go and check that out. And then from there, please make sure you go and follow the Instagram and so forth. But by all means, talk to us about the Kickstarter and what's going on with that.
Yeah, so we are so the official launch is, as you can see, October 15th. We're super excited for it. We have just a lot of just really cool things in store with this. Like kind of like what I said, as we're growing, we're starting to venture into other things that's kind of been like we've been dreaming about since day one. So this is kind of like the starting point of things. Like we're doing interviews with people that we either work with or we're working with. We're having more people kind of join the team. And it's kind of interesting because we already put out issue one of the V series. And
Mm-hmm.
when we talked about doing V series issue two, would it be weird if would it be weird for people to see issue two instead of one? And I was like, well, this is actually kind of a big introduction, to like, people who don't know us, and then kind of a reintroduction or another introduction to the people who do know us, because we have a lot of stuff, that's going to be packed in the V series. So we thought this was kind of, we didn't plan it, honestly. Like we planned it, but for it to kind of fit like this, yeah, it
It
was
kind
just
of came together.
it came together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Andrew Swaney is asking, are you going to be at any conventions coming up so we can see your work live and up close?
Yeah. So I don't think we have anything planned as of now. Yeah, I don't think we do. Yeah, I don't think we do. I was trying to think. No, I don't think so. But we will be looking. Like we're definitely not ruling conventions out. Like we definitely want to go. We kind of had a revelation. We were like, just the presentation that we did at, I believe, Otakon. Like
Mhm.
we really liked the way that was like set up, and we were like, man, yeah, we need to do this again. Like, so like the shows that we're gonna go to, we're gonna try to make sure that we kind of get bigger and bigger. That way we can kind of
Mm-hmm.
like almost do like events there, where like we get bigger spaces. The more things that we get into, like more activities. I don't want to spoil anything, but
Sure.
more activities, we can kind of like house that and just have people interact with us, because that space at Otakon
Mm-hmm.
was great. Like,
Um, on that note, let's kind of talk about some of what else you're doing because it's not just manga in book form.
mhm.
You guys are you
Yeah,
got voice actors. You're doing
yeah,
so like let's talk about some of you know, what it really means to be a part of Moon Lair Studios. It isn't just, I'm writing these stories and I'm putting out books, but there's more to it. So let's get into that a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Dynamic Manga, that is a brainchild from a very talented, good friend of mine. I'm blessed to have him. Gary Okami, he's an amazing voice actor, director, sound director, an amazing just voice artist. That was his brainchild. It was something that he, when we first met, like, he presented the idea, not just in sort of like, let me tell you about this idea. He physically did Obasi's voice. And I mean, he put it together and it was amazing. So Dynamic Manga is going to be a fully interactive, voiceover, I'm trying to think of the word now, just manga presentation where you can hear the voice actors. It's going to have intros and outros of original songs. It's going to have even the bumper commercials from like the DVDs and stuff. So we're really planning, as you said, we're going to have real professional voice actors. Like, he's been working around the clock, coordinating with all these amazing voice actors. And it's going to be a spectacle. Like, we're really working hard on this, like, honestly, like, and if you go to my Instagram page, you'll be able to kind of hear and see snippets of it. So yeah, we're doing some amazing things with Dynamic Manga.
Yeah, it's really cool. What is your, I don't know, I guess your planned path for how people will consume the Dynamic Manga? Are they going to be able to download it? Is it going to be, are you going to actually do discs and that kind of thing? Like, what's the,
absolutely,
what is your plan around how people will find and consume it?
Yeah, so I mean, we're definitely looking into kind of like downloadable episodes, places where we're trying to figure out where we can kind of host it. Like, we definitely want to host it on our website, but I think we may plan on hosting it either on Patreon or just somewhere where we can kind of upload it. But the plan is definitely to do kind of like a place where you can come and watch new episodes. And then as far as like long term, I mean, we would love to put it on disc. I mean, I would love to do that. Honestly.
That's a super long term.
I know. Yeah.
Which is cool. Look, I've talked to you many times, and I know that your brain is always going. Like, there's always a new thing in the works. Yeah. There's always, you know what I mean? Something. So like, I'm like, don't blame me for feeding the beast. It's what it is.
No, I appreciate
it. My brain actually kind of works in a lot of the same way. So, it's always good to talk to you. Can you tell me about this?
Yes. Ooh. Yeah. So yeah.
Already got jokes.
Did you hear that?
Speaking his language.
I'll tell you. So this is so just real quick. This has been something that's been gnawing at my brain for like a very, very long time. We want to put together some form of tabletop card game.
Damn it!
I know. Yeah. Here we go. So these are sample cards. I'm glad. I'm glad I'm getting the reactions and stuff. So it's kind of two ways. Again, we're trying to start off slow because a lot of times we get excited, we do things that we're just like either not prepared to either handle, or we don't really know how to handle them. But we wanted to do kind of in two ways. We wanted to, from my past experience, you remember the old X-Men cards, the collection cards.
Yeah.
Where they had the stats, they had all this stuff.
I was a collector for sure.
Yeah. And anime, I know Dragon Ball Z used to have like these like scene cards where they would have like the scenes of and I used to draw the living daylights out of those things. Oh my goodness. And so we were thinking like, okay, well, what can we start off with and stuff like that. So we wanted to start off with Mooniverse, sort of like collection cards and stuff like that, and then kind of build that up And that character that you saw is a main character. Again, we want to start off with a story to explain the rules, to explain everything, and we want to introduce a card game, like a battle card game. So so Mooniverse is just the card collection. We're kind of using it as like an ad, but that character is going to be linked to a card game in the future. It's we're working on it. We're excited.
Yeah.
I know. Appreciate it.
Andrew said, "Shush and take my money." So like, I don't know. You better figure it out, man.
No, honestly, like, and it's just one of those things that like I get more excited about just the product than like people are like, oh man, I want to get it, and I'm like, all right, but I got so many ideas, and they're like, no, I don't want to hear any of that. Just this. And I'm like, all right, let me just fix it up a little bit. But yeah, no, and that's kind of what I was talking about when we go to like Otakon. Like as we expand with our properties, we want to accommodate and try to do events like like holding a card tournament with like these card games.
Jokes is ready. He's already thinking right now.
Yeah.
Most of y'all know,
Hey, look,
like
I will tell
trading
you
card,
that,
everything is like kryptonite to me.
Yeah.
I'm terrible about this kind of stuff, right? Because I will shoot ideas at people all day, but like, we come from a world where we are at a lot of conventions, right? And we've seen people do everything from like a collectible pen, or it's very common for comic book artists to do, this is the Baltimore Comic-Con variant, it's only available here thing. Can you imagine doing that for a set of cards? For having like, you can only get this card if you're at this convention.
Yeah, that's
bro.
They were showing
I'm
droves.
in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
No,
Yes.
and that's man, and honestly, I'll be fantasizing about all that stuff, but
yeah,
I gotta.
Yeah.
It's over there. It's like.
Look, we could talk more offline, right? About some other things, right? Because I don't know if it's so. Look, I never read manga, right? I was a comic book guy, never read manga. Truthfully, it wasn't really very accessible, and if you can imagine the kind of hoops that people the age of Sin and I jumped through just to get our anime when we were young.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't gonna do that to read. Let me just make that very clear.
Yeah. And just to add on, the stuff that was accessible, like really wasn't monitored. So if you did get your hands on something, it either scared the living daylights out of you. So you were like, oh no, I ain't messing with that.
My daughter said the concept just triggered me as I organized my photo cards. That is exactly right. Because I remember the first time I picked up a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic book. And everything in it was black and white. And I was initially disappointed. And then I initially decided this might be the coolest comic I've ever picked up. Like, to be honest, the drawings of the Ninja Turtles were kind of crude. But they were so much cooler in the comic than they were in the TV show. And like, it added this kind of a noir aspect to it, whatever. So like, the only black and white comic I ever really read was Ninja Turtles, right? And I loved it. However, so much manga is black and white. Is it blasphemous for you to put like a I don't know, like a 20-page coloring book of like your characters? Like, would that be can you do that? Is that okay? Like, you have color versions, and it's and they have clearly, like, you have covers and stuff like that, but like I also think that there's a gateway that often gets missed in inviting the younger audience into a lot of what anime really is and a lot of what manga really is. And I don't think there's really a lot of better vehicles than either fighting or coloring.
This
and
is true.
so
This is true.
I, like a 20-page coloring book.
Yeah, no, and it's funny you mentioned that. Actually, Gary, the really good friend, like he sent me a book, and he was like, man, it'd be cool if you do it, like, and that's always his pitch to me. He'd be like, man, it'd be so cool if Moon Lair was doing this, and like that's his pitch. No, I really no, I would love to do that. Like I would definitely, and I feel I see a lot more of that happening. So I think you're onto something. Like I really do. Yeah, and it's something. It's just again, I think about the product a lot, where I'm like, I want it to be presented in a certain way.
Yeah.
Most people will be like, nah, just throw up some artwork, and I'm like, nah, it needs to have a theme. It needs to have, I need to just really put my best foot forward and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, you may see that in the future. You definitely may see that in the future.
I would love it. Again, look, I always look forward to seeing your work and what you're working on. Yeah. We as a crew always get excited when we run into you at shows and stuff like that, right? And so it really is really cool to see you continuing to put the effort in and do something different and really push, man. And we wish you the best. We want you to be super 100. Successful and just kind of keep that going, right? Because art just is so important to so many of us. Yeah. I believe it saved a lot of us in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And so folks like you doing what you're doing is the kind of thing we're always going to get behind, and we love to introduce good folks like you to our audience and the people who are here. And it's not the first time you've been on the show, and I certainly hope it's not the last time you're on the show, but I do want to thank you for what you're doing, for being as passionate about what you're doing and continuing to really push for it to be the way you want it to be when people get it.
I appreciate it. It.
I know that can be hard as an artist to kind of let go of, like, because other people don't know what's in your head. And so when they see it, it might look like it's done to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But in your head, what else you can, what I mean? Like what else you could do to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I want you to keep pushing. The Kickstarter goes live when?
October 15th. Yeah, October 15th. Okay. Yep, it goes live. We got also, and just adding to that, not only just interviews, we got brand new stories in there. We're actually introducing a light novel in there. So if you guys are into light novels, I'm just looking at Jokes' background. It's a mecha light novel, so if you need.
Hey, listen, he's just coming from my wallet. Like let me just.
I'm just saying, yeah.
On my card, just take the credit card and just swipe it every single time.
No, and I'm excited for that because we have a very talented writer writing that. Again, a lot of this stuff is very new to me, letting people kind of do their own thing, and me being okay with it because I'm kind of like I kind of want to see what it looks like. I'm excited to see what this thing that you're doing is, just so I can kind of like either learn and be like, oh, okay, that's how you do it. So we got a lot of new stories in there, a lot of cool rewards, some rewards you will not expect. I'll just
okay.
So, yeah, we got
so people should go and just make sure they pre-save now.
Absolutely
check out the link. Give me like a little bit of a rundown, because I guess we kind of didn't really talk about exactly what V Series is. So
that's my fault. I'm sorry.
Nah, we just talking like
this is true. Yeah. No, so V Series is so if you are familiar with Shonen Jump or kind of new type, it's pretty much what it is. It's a sampler where it has interviews, it has manga stories in there, or continuous ones and new ones. A V Series is sort of a compilation of all of our work. Again, we're gonna have some new stuff in there, and we're gonna have some.
We have some lost in. It's fine.
Oh no, sorry.
It happens. There we go.
There you go. The awesomeness.
I mean, saying you can let it all.
I know. I'm just letting everybody get it.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
listen, if Sin can break it, it's gonna get broke. It's fine.
I don't believe it, Sin. I don't believe it, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
He
Oh.
clearly doesn't watch this show very often. Nah, to be honest, it's a lot of times it's my fault, but it's because Bruce Wayne doesn't like me, and that's a whole other
There
story.
you go.
Wayne tap.
Yeah.
Listen,
The
I've
Justice
been
for Joe show. That's right, Heather.
listen.
Jokes was getting some love. It's not his fault this time. Yes, but please continue. You know, telling us about.
Yeah.
This is like a compilation of the different things that are coming out of Moon Lair Studios in like a magazine form.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like with Shonen Jump, if you like a certain series, so let's say if you like Go Ganzi, like, you know, and you don't want to wait for the second or the third V series come out, you can just order, you know, the full volume of Go Ganzi. And same thing with AK Yumi. If you're like, I don't want to wait, you can order I want to say the second issue of AK Yumi, and we're actually working on the third issue right now. So it's there's different series that you can just sort of bypass, you know, waiting for the next V series. But there are some exclusive series that are only going to be in the V series and stuff. So so yeah, we're just trying to cover all bases. But yeah, this is definitely kind of a like manga sampler and stuff. So
I dig it. So if people go to the Moon Lair Studios website, they can pick up all that other stuff.
Absolutely.
There's also a link there to the Kickstarter, but again, the Kickstarter has been shared. So if people want to, you know, have the opportunity to get their hands on V Series issue 2, again, starting on October 15th, but you can go to the Kickstarter now and check it out.
Absolutely. And we're and actually a lot of our catalog, our back issues are going to be part of that rewards. I mean, so it's going to be
awesome.
And some of the rewards are including like shirts, you know, apparels, posters. So like we got like it's going to be it's stacked. We were actually, you know, just putting the finishing touches on certain things, and we were like, man, this thing is looking stacked. So so we hope everybody just, you know, will find something they like and, you know, just just enjoy it.
Listen, man, I like it. I heard Jokes ask really briefly if there was a collectible card included in one of the Kickstarter packages that just maybe like you can only get, you know what I mean, if you support the Kickstarter at a certain tier. Jokes was just kind of like, maybe I can hear his brain.
No, and we're actually it's funny, we're working on that, and we're working on that, because like again, I think like that too, where I'm like, can we just do like a solid gold one? Can we just like, can I just like literally make it myself?
Hammer and chisel the joint out.
Exactly. So I'm telling you, we really want to make this thing special, like, you know, and it's like we got some really cool things.
That's awesome. Again, I'm glad to have you here, man. We'll have you back anytime you want to come. Again, we're always happy to see you when we're out and about.
Same here. Appreciate it.
You know, so thank you and good luck. I don't think you need it, but I'm gonna wish it anyway because it hurt.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So yeah. So again, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us tonight. It has been incredibly special to have you, like it always is. I want to thank Andrew again, Pandy O, Moon Lair Studios. Please go follow. Please check out the Kickstarter. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, for joining us. I know you had classes and all that kind of stuff tonight. I know it's late, so
no problem.
I certainly appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on. Let me share this.
Of course,
definitely
100%, dude. Like I said, anytime you want, we'll be happy to do that. I have a special message for all the people out there. Jokes, tell the people what I need them to know.
Remember, y'all, just because you have a well thought out plan doesn't make it a good idea.
With that, we're out. Toodles and loos.
Loading snacks.